They called him the Diesel.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go.
He leaned across the table and he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
And to Riggins, good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.
It's Riggo the Diesel.
Hello and welcome to the 49th edition of Riggo the Diesel. I am Riggo the Diesel. I'm John Riggins, and this is Larry Michael, voice of the Washington Redskins. Larry, this Sunday, the Phoenix didn't rise from the ashes this Sunday.
No, it didn't.
Because it was an impossibility for any ashes to be out there, because I'm guessing, I checked it out, I think there was almost 2 inches of rain on Sunday.
It was 2 inches. I was wondering, and somebody did tell me that earlier today, Tuesday, we're here, and I don't know any field that could have held up. Actually, I think it held up pretty good, but the puddles of water is what was really, and then, I got a little upset at the end when they were showboating on the Redskins field, but I'll leave that till another day.
I was gone by then, but because my youngest daughter had her 15th birthday on Sunday, and it was such a quick game that I was able to, obviously flip that off after it was over with and go into the kitchen and start cooking. But what I wanted to say was that I said before the game, and I was doing a pregame show, that I said, well, it looks to me like that at that point in time, I think the field had been covered up until a certain point before kickoff, right? Then they peeled it off. The field looked like really in good condition. It didn't look like it was raining that hard. It had let up a little bit, and I was saying, because I was doing the show with Scott Jackson, and I told Scott, I said, I don't think footing's really going to be a problem for the most part, because the turf looked like it was so solid, and I thought that because it was such light rain, they would get through it. Well, that was completely bad information I was given, because as the game continued, more and more rain, and like you said, I didn't notice where they had people slip so much, but it was when they fell and when they ran, you would see, the puddles of water that must have been out, because the field just wasn't draining. Well, it's impossible for it to drain, just too much rain on top of more rain. So
you ever played in those kind of conditions? You had a game in Tampa one time like that?
Exactly what I was going to say.
That.
And you know what's weird is, and this was, who was it? It was, interesting enough, it was Adrian Peterson. I don't know if you recall, but he got hit on a play, and he was out of bounds, and he hit the deck, and he slid for a good long ways. Well, we were down in Tampa, and it was actually the year that the team went to the Super Bowl. It was the second game of the regular season. We just played in Philadelphia, went down to Tampa, and then there was a strike right after that Tampa Bay game.
Right.
Well, we're in Tampa. Trust me when I say this. The rain that we got down in Tampa was like 10 times more rain than what was out there.
Right.
I mean, it was coming down in sheets before the game, and it did that continually through the game. It was a monsoon that they had. Anyway, I remember getting the ball. It was the last carry of the game, actually, and I got hit, where I went down inbounds, but I was going towards the sideline. I slid all the way from the field all the way to the embankment, the abutment that they had there to the fans. I mean, I don't know, it was a good 15, 20 yards, I would guess. I was just like sailing across there. I mean, it was, I could actually see now, I don't want to get you riled up, but I could see where the 49ers might be out there just having, now you couldn't do that if you lost, obviously, but it's kind of fun to do, sliding in the grass.
I'm over it.
Okay.
At the time, it was upsetting to me, but because that, but win the game, and that doesn't happen to you, right?
Yeah,
so I guess that's
a pretty good way to look at it.
Moral to that story is just win, and you will not get showboated on your own field.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it from a standpoint, actually, I can see what you're saying, and more than likely you're right. But I'm kind of giving somebody an out here saying, if you're happy and go lucky, which obviously these guys were, I don't know if they were trying to make a statement. That's where I'm cutting them a little slack. But to run, because they were sliding around, now all of a sudden you ain't got anybody hitting you. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they were.
Somebody says to me, they're just kids having fun. Those are full-grown men, okay? They're not kids.
Hold it, Larry. I got to stop you there. Come on, Larry. Play football. You got to have the mindset of a child.
That's
I mean,
true.
It's like I always used to look at it when I went down to the locker room. It was like recess in grade school.
Yeah, you get play a game.
And so there is a little attachment there, and you got to appreciate the fact that. Us football players, there's a few, that have gotten Fulbright scholarships and so on and so forth. I say there's a few, but I don't think you find the rank and file. It ain't a small percentage of those guys. Anyway.
Look, just win the game, and you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
That's just the bottom line. Now, very short work week for the Redskins.
Yes.
They're practicing today, Tuesday. Very rarely do you see them practice on Tuesday, leaving Wednesday for the Thursday game. So it's really difficult when you have to travel on a Thursday night. To me, when that schedule comes out, you'd much rather be at home on a Thursday night because it eliminates a day of preparation. The team's going to leave a little bit later than normal on Wednesday. We're going to get to Minnesota in the evening, not late afternoon. And then you got to wait around the next day. You really can't get any work done on Thursday, even though they'll probably have meetings to go over some things, last-minute details. And, again, you got one win, and you're playing your former quarterback, who, by the way, is rated number 1 in the NFL, 114 quarterback rating, 69% completion percentage.
I want to check those stats.
13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he is number 1 right now. I read it this morning.
Well, I'm not doubting you.
Dalvin Cook, number 1 running back, rushing this year, over 700 yards. He leads the league. He also leads the league in yards from scrimmage. He's got over 1,000 yards combined, receiving and rushing. So, Redskins have to stop the run on Thursday night, make Kirk Cousins beat you. I guess that's the way to approach it defensively because Cook could run wild on you. That has to be your priority. Stop him.
Look, I would think, by the way, I think you forgot to mention, I think there's an 18.5 point. Okay, we're going to guess the spread
We're
at the end.
We're guessing the spread. No.
It's 18 something. I thought
it was 16.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Thought it was 16.
It's up there. My point being is that I would guess if I'm on this team, actually me personally, I would kind of hope that the running back beats him.
Maybe you can't.
If they lose.
And they
in
got
other words, if you look back at the game, and you see that the guy went crazy and there was nothing you can do about it, I think everybody'd feel better if that's the way it turned out. If you're going to lose, now I'm not saying they're going to lose, because I tell you,
you don't want to get bit by your former players. What you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Hurt more.
That's
Brown's strategy in Philly didn't work all that well.
Didn't work good for him, did it? He got fired.
No.
That was kind of wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he did say, keep it in Kirk's hands, and we'll be fine.
And I guess be careful what you ask for.
And now he's out of work.
Well, and
Wow,
obviously,
harsh.
yeah. Well, obviously he's talking about Cousins. He's up on the top of the wave right now because I think that's probably what I've always thought that about him. Not that this is a Kirk Cousins show, but I've always thought that there's something about he doesn't have the real true confidence. I think he's got to kind of goose himself up to get there, but maybe that's changing now.
Well,
He's
Adam Thielen's hurt. The wide receiver's hurt. He's got to pull a hamstring. I think the reports out of there are very, very questionable if he'll play. Stephon Diggs, obviously a great player. They got some tight ends. They got a great running back. It won't be easy, but I think the Redskins defense has played a little bit better over the last couple of weeks. But the big question everybody's asking is when number 7 gets in the game.
Yeah, well, that's the question I'm asking. You want to come back?
Let's come back. Riggo the Diesel is brought to you by ARS Rescue Rooter of Virginia. And join the Redskins and youth entrepreneurs during Global Entrepreneurship Week. As former MVP Mark Mosley, the only kicker to ever be named MVP in the National Football League.
Yes, I remember that.
Still got the great hair. Shares his entrepreneurial journey at 1 Million Cups on Thursday, November 20th at George Washington University's School of Business Marvin Center. From football to Five Guys. Won't want to miss hearing Mr. Automatic's story. They called him Mr. Automatic?
They did during that championship game against San Francisco.
I don't remember that. Why he's so excited to support youth entrepreneurs in expanding their unique and transformative educational program in schools across the D.C. metro area? Go see Mo's. To learn more about bringing youth entrepreneurs engaging hands-on learning to your classroom now, visit gety-e.org. John?
All right, well, for a long time now, I've been telling you about O'Connor Plumbing and everything that they're capable of doing in your home when it comes to working on the things that matter to you most, which is keeping your house dry on the inside, roof and plumbing, pretty important stuff. Well, O'Connor Plumbing now has extended their regular hours during the day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and there's no overtime charges. They also do it on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I think it's something you ought to take advantage of. They're a first-rate outfit. I use them in my house. In fact, they're coming to my place on Thursday to do a few things. So get O'Connor Plumbing, 1-833-RIGGO-44. I don't think you can go wrong with the boys from O'Connor. And the girls. There's a few. Believe it or not, they have some lady plumbers.
I've seen a couple lady plumbers.
Yes, it's great to have your.
I got to tell you, plumbing fascinates me. By the way, I've always because it is such an important part of your house, and I got to because I'm looking at a problem that I was thinking I was going to do it myself. I've got to remove a vanity off the wall, and I asked Fred from O'Connor Plumbing. I said, Fred, and he walked me through it, and I went down there all day yesterday. I'm looking at it. Plus, there's an electrical that got to come out of it, and I looked at that plumbing. I'm going, I got to get Fred back over here. The way we talked it through, I just don't understand it. So yeah, because you're kind of like me. You're a little bit of a do-it-yourself guy, right?
Definitely, a little less than I used to be. I don't do much painting anymore. I used to paint everything. I would never hire a painter to do anything. I'm hiring painters these days. Used to mow my own lawn too.
And you don't do that anymore?
No, I don't do that anymore.
I'm still mowing my own lawn.
I cut my own hedges, but I had to call them back twice because they didn't do a good job the first time. Anyway, I won't mention the company.
They probably would appreciate that.
All right.
Hey, I'm bored, I'm broke, and I'm back.
Who's bored? Who's broke? And who's back?
I wanted to always see the redwoods. I wanted to see the Rocky Mountains. I wanted to see the Painted Desert, the Petrified Forest, the Grand Canyon. That was like the land that I always wanted to go to.
John Riggins.
All right, we broke in number 7, and we're not talking about JT. We're talking about DH,
yes,
Dwayne Haskins.
Yep.
And when we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, and it's been a topic for quite a while now. And I don't know exactly, because I'm one of those proponents of doing your job, right? Go out, do your job, see what happens.
Right.
And it's not over till it's over. That type of thinking that you don't know. You just really don't know, what happens in the NFL at any given moment and how your fortunes can change overnight, literally. So to say you're going to chuck the season and start working on next year, I'm always kind of like, well, when is and the bottom line for me is, well, I mean, for sure, when you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, that's probably a smart thing to do, to start evaluating, going through and looking at your inventory and seeing what you have. But it comes from a gut feeling. This isn't really necessarily X's and O's, and it's all mathematical. And I think, the powers that be have to look at the franchise. They have to look at their quarterback situation. And we're talking right now because there is a trade deadline coming up. And you wonder, are there people, and the first place you look at is the quarterback position. Are there people here that maybe could benefit the team if you ended up moving them to another team? And clearly you have two guys in Case Keenum and Colt McCoy who one would think probably may have some value for teams that are going down the stretch now where you could actually better yourself. And you also, at least from my perspective, I'm looking at it from the standpoint that it's a little bit of a luxury, I think, to be carrying 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks the way they've been doing for so long. So I would almost suspect, but not, I have no idea. I haven't talked to anybody, but I would think if it were me, I would have to be thinking about trading one of my backup When I say backup, I mean neither one of these guys are established people in the NFL. I want to say established stars. They're certainly servable quarterbacks, but are they the guys that, are going to lead a franchise for the next 10 years and so on and so forth, to glory and all that? I don't know. But you have to look at number 7, Dwayne Haskins, and say he is supposed to be that guy. And my default position is if he's good enough to back up on Sunday, where you can set one of your experienced guys, if he's good enough to do that based on everything, then I think he certainly is good enough to get into these games and start playing some meaningful football. That's just the way I see it. If you think that he's got anything going on, I can't see where in a way you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, as that old saying goes, because he needs the experience. Clearly, he didn't get that much of it in college, and there's a flip side of this, and I don't know. I'm not going to say to give it any validity because I don't know, but there's the other side is, well, you got to get him out there so you feel comfortable with the idea that he is that quarterback that's going to lead you on for the next 10 years. So there's that kind of talk going around as well.
I agree with almost all you say. I think you're right. I think he's the number 2 quarterback, and that's the way it's going to be moving forward. So I must say, I've said the 3rd straight week now, there are 2 scenarios that could see him play next game. Obviously one would be injury, the other would be poor performance. And I would think, why wouldn't you put him in? Obviously in one of those instances, you'd have to put him in. So, if it's a poor performance situation and your team's not looking good in a particular game, to let him go in and get some experience, I think would be a great idea. And then you're right. You got a third quarterback there who maybe, if you are looking at next year, maybe you can get a draft pick. I mean, look, we know that the Trent Williams situation is sooner or later going to yield something. I mean, he's not going to sit there for 2 years and be not utilized and not traded. I think they're looking at next year to get some picks for him. So if you can add a couple more picks, knowing that you're coming off 2 good drafts, this kind of is the way this team has been built. They've got some good young players, a pretty young team. So, but I'd like to see him in there. I really would. I'd like to see him and to see what he could do. He's got a cannon arm. And I believe, I don't know if disrespected is the word, but I think people are selling him very short. And it's for a lot of bad reasons. I really don't want to get into too much of it. But to think that people think that he's not capable of playing, he's not ready yet. He's the number 2 quarterback, John. If something happens, if Case Keenum sprains his ankle getting out of the shower, then he better be ready to go. I mean, whether he's ready or not.
Well, he's already played. He's already played.
So I think that's all just, overblown media hype, and we'll see him soon enough. When exactly, we don't know. But I think the kid's got a lot of confidence. He's got a great head on his shoulders, really good support system around him, and confident kid. Yes, green. I think but what can you do? Green is green.
Well, you bring up a couple of good things here. One is, draft pick moving forward to the future. There's a good chance, we're halfway, not quite halfway, we're getting close to being halfway through the season. There's a good chance that the team is going to get a pretty high draft pick, right?
You would think with one win.
Top 5 maybe?
If the draft was tomorrow, whose Bengals are winless.
Right, and so are the Jets. No, Jets have beat somebody.
Jets got to win. I mean,
Miami is still winless.
Miami's winless. But you're right. Top 5, I guess, is a good, safe way of looking at it. If there's draft tomorrow, be top 5.
Yeah, so that's the other. Just in case there's some flaw here with number 7, then you have that. At least you know what you've got. But the other thing too you brought up was Trent Williams, and that makes me scratch my head because if you're hanging on to Trent Williams throughout the season, I think that his value continues to go down. It's not going to go up. He's out a year of football. He's just another year older. He's an injury-prone player, has been. Not quite to the likes of Jordan, but at the same time, that he is one of those guys, and you got to wonder, okay. I would say this would be a great opportunity if you can get. I think you'll get more for Trent Williams now if you're going to trade him. Right. Or if you're going to play hardball. I can see that too. You say, hey, look, you got a contract with us, you agreed to play with us, and you don't want to play with us, well, announce your retirement. I mean, I can see that too.
Well, the other argument is maybe they're not getting the offer they're looking for. Maybe the offer isn't there that they want, and say, well, we'll wait. Maybe something changes. Maybe somebody loses a tackle. There have been a bunch of tackles that have gone down this year. The recent story about Cleveland inquiring, well, they lost their tackle, and they need a tackle.
Well, they did inquire. I mean, that I just read that this morning on.
The guy said it takes 2 to tango.
Right, that was his comment.
Don't know, but I've seen you at the head of a conga line. By the way, it only takes 1 to conga. It takes 2. It
does
because the person, everybody.
Oh, I see. To start the conga.
Yeah. Anyway,
when you get a 2-man conga, though, there's probably something more
like
going on.
A 2-man bobsled.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the possibilities with a 2-man conga.
Okay. Riggo the Diesel is brought to you by ARS Rescue Rooter of Virginia. And you know what? One of my favorite things to do is participate in a conga line with John Riggins. Also, games from Virginia Lottery. The print and play rolling jackpot. It's great. No play slips to fill out. No waiting for a drawing. $2 ticket wins you 20% of the jackpot. $10 ticket wins 100% of the jackpot. For each price point, the odds of winning the top prize are 1 in 240,000. Look for it at your favorite Virginia Lottery retailer. And helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief at Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. The team at Koch working together to meet the world's changing needs in transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at kochindustries.com. And for official team news, Full game day experiences and live local Redskins games are all available on the Redskins mobile app. Download it today.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way, unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't.
They left the scoreboard up, and I remember seeing Redskins 27, Dolphins 17. And it was that moment of truth where I went, damn, I'm a world champion.
John, when he walked, he had a little bop to him. And besides that, he had the booty out there. They nicknamed him Chocolate Chip.
Story time with Riggo.
Yeah, Chocolate Chip. That reminds me, T-Cat over here in the Peanut Gallery, he brought up, which I saw last week, that they must be doing the 100 whatever in the NFL. You know, probably do the 100 greatest quarterbacks, the 100
countdown.
I heard that cut, but said a different way by Joe.
Exactly, and he did, because I think he did it again. It's the second time. It's a redo.
Yeah.
Different interview, and he got more chocolatey chip.
Yes, he did. Because I saw him, and I went, Joe looks a little older than he did last time I saw him. But yeah, so I guess they have out now. There's I haven't actually seen the full piece, but could they have done it for all 100 people?
Yes.
Oh my God!
You got to be.
They are pouring some. But it's a 100 grand.
Yeah, and John.
Who do you think number one was? Do you know?
I don't know. Who?
Al Davis.
Al Davis was the number one character.
I actually don't know the top 10. Where do you think Riggo fell?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing.
We're talking all times.
He's got to be.
That's
in
a
the
lot
top
of guys
10.
since 1920.
He's top 10. Is John in the top 10?
No.
He's not. Top.
He should be, but
top 20.
Yes.
He's in the top 20. There you go. What about 17, 16, 15?
Very close. 17.
17.
I mean, I was 18, but you were very close.
I mean, who were the top 10? Do you remember who they were?
No, he hadn't seen it, right?
I don't think they've released it yet.
I got a video.
How did mine come
They
out?
were doing it in segments.
Oh, and from the like 100 down.
Yeah. I saw 76.
Clinton Portis?
Yes.
I knew CP made it.
CP made it. CP made it. Yeah, all the disguises and everything that scored big.
Was there anybody from the franchise besides Clinton and I so far that anybody's seen?
I got to look it up. I haven't seen anything.
I'm trying to think of who.
Who else would be? I mean, you guys are.
But to get 100 guys, that's a lot of
Joe Don Looney.
Yeah, he'd probably be one of them.
Did you ever meet him?
Never did. No.
Deion Sanders is probably top.
He's top 5. Yeah.
Freon.
I mean, it's hard to just think about it. Freon. How about Bobby Lane? Probably was up there, right?
He'd
Bobby
be
Lane,
top 10.
No, I bet
Who
you Sonny,
knows?
maybe Sonny was in
I was
it.
just getting ready to say.
Sonny was probably in there because Sonny
He
was
might be
a
top
famous
10.
party animal.
Yes.
Right?
Did you say you said Bobby Lane, right?
Bobby Lane, Norm Van Drop.
You know who else has to be in there? Although I don't know who is Doug Atkins. He has to be in there.
Yeah, because he was a wild dude.
I would say
probably.
Yes.
Yeah, he would be in there.
He would.
But Sanders checks in at number 5.
Really?
Is that right?
Who's got the list? Does Stevie have the list over there?
I have a few.
Okay.
See if Doug Atkins is on it, because without a doubt, I mean, I've heard guys that actually would scare you walking into a building. If you were sitting into a bar, you'd go.
He'd scare you.
And they were scared of Doug.
Chuck Bednarik.
Sonny told me he was
Chuck's
scared
one
of
of
Doug.
these guys.
He's got to be.
Sonny told me he
I
was
didn't
scared
think
of Doug.
he was just a rough, tough, bad dude.
He was a weird dude, but Sonny told me not only was Atkins scary looking because of his physically imposing stature, but he also carried a gun.
Well, but not only that,
that'll do
probably more so than that, he carried attitude.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he went around looking for trouble, but when things that wasn't going the way Doug had them planned out to go, Doug would just go ahead and shape things the way he wanted them to.
Sonny told me he told his defense, he told his offensive line, let him come after me, because he was dogging Sonny in a game. So they let him through, and Sonny, no, right between the eyes, threw the ball.
They waved offensive through. Here comes the bull.
Yep.
Sonny drilled him right between.
Right in the face and put him down like a shot in the head.
He probably was shot. It was like that thing they do to cattle when they're going to be slaughtered. What was that movie, No Country for Old Men? that thing that guy was using.
Yeah, what was that thing?
You don't want to mess with that thing.
Yeah.
That's like a slug. Puts a bolt in your head.
Boz has to be on the list. Bosworth has to be on the list.
God, he was a what do you call it? What do you call that? Just a fly by night kind of. He was there and then he was gone.
Flash in the pan.
Bosworth, did he even qualify for a pension? He wasn't there 4 years. Was he?
Bo Jackson ran him over though that one time.
Oh, that was a great.
He kind of said, you know what? Screen Actors Guild, here I come.
Yeah. That reminds me. Earl Campbell then would have to be on this, I would think. Although I don't know what. Well.
Character, you have a little personality, a little flavor.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Exactly.
It's fun going through it. It's fun going
Larry
through
made me think of getting run over. Yeah,
Alex Karras, a good one. Paul Hornung, the Golden Boy, has to be on there.
He's probably those guys are probably all top 10.
Yeah.
Don Meredith?
Maybe.
Yeah, he'd be one.
But although those guys, they became like. Well, Karras was accused of gambling. I guess you could make it for gambling, right? Although they wouldn't want to. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Golden Boy. Well, the Golden Boy is definitely known for having a few shooters.
Yeah, no, a great.
I got to tell this real quick Doug Atkins story though before we leave because we're about out of time.
Yeah.
But I was out. This was been in 2012, I guess it was. It was my 10-year anniversary of being in Canton at the Hall of Fame, and I'm standing there and I'm sitting there talking to Doug Atkins and Merlin Olsen. And when Merlin came into the league his rookie year, he made the All-Pro team or whatever it was, Pro Bowl. He made the Pro Bowl. So he comes in. He's a rookie, and Doug's been around for a while, and he determines that Merlin is going to be his driver for the week. Just like, hey, Merlin. And Merlin Olsen, I mean, this guy's from the steel mills out in Ogden, Utah, or not Ogden, but Orem, Utah. I mean, pretty tough dude, right?
Yeah.
But, he was happy to go along with what Doug said. So I guess Merlin's telling a story how he drove Doug from this party to this party to this party, and Doug was drinking martinis. And, of course, he made Merlin drink, too. You didn't just, you just didn't sit there and babysit Doug. But of course, Merlin wasn't into it. He would do he was, pretending he was drinking. And finally, he said after, I don't know, the second day, third day, after all, just martini after martini, he's standing there, and all of a sudden, Doug was like a giant redwood out in the National Forest, just boom.
Timber.
And that was the end of Doug. He was done for a while. But, yeah, that's who he was. Wow. I would have to put, knowing the stories I've heard of Doug and all the men that feared him, and they were guys that were defensive players. Bill Saul, Ron Saul's brother, he's another one that told me stories about Doug. And Bill was a brawler up in Pennsylvania. Would go with his dad, coal miners.
Double tough.
Coal miners at night, they go and drink, and then next thing you know, a fight breaks out. Well, that's what they did, and he'd go with his dad when he was in high school, and there would be Bill wading it, and he was about 6'4", weighed about 240. And he told me, don't mess with Doug. Don't mess with Doug. I'm thinking, Bill Saul's telling me not to mess with Doug. So I'm guessing I'd like seeing Doug and Sonny Liston go at it. That might have been a pretty interesting bout.
Doug was a big guy for his time, right?
Oh, first time I ever saw him, Larry, I'll tell you who looks exactly like him nowadays. Is Joe Jacoby. The imposing figure. Yeah. I saw Joe when I walked down into the tunnel to go out there on the field, and I'm telling you, he was like
no shrinkage. No shrinkage.
He was like a giant oak tree. He just stood there alone. He was towering over Donnie Warren and Jeff Bostic and whoever else was.
Joe looks like he's wearing shoulder pads.
Exactly.
He really does.
He's got the wedge. He ain't
Still.
he's an amazing guy, and he needs to get in the Hall of Fame though.
Ain't that the truth?
Somebody hear my prayer. All right, I'll see you next week.
Thank you, my friend. Redskins Park update coming up after this break.
Some may argue that the best part of the print and play rolling jackpot from the Virginia Lottery is that it starts at $50K and keeps on rolling. Some think that the fact that the jackpot is solely for Virginians makes it the very best. But the true, undeniable reason that the print and play rolling jackpot is a superior game lies in its sheer instantness. That's right, instantness. Play instantly and win instantly. Try and name 5 other equally as awesome instant things. Wait. Odds of winning top prize, 1 in 240,000.
Time to tailgate. We have my Honda CR-V with class-leading cargo space, so I can bring the grill. Cousin Bobby's Honda Pilot with seating for 8, and my brother's Honda Ridgeline loaded with fun features like in-bed speakers and an in-bed trunk. Nothing left to do now but sit back and wait for kickoff. Who wants a hot dog?
Get more this season with a great deal on a new Honda, perfect for tailgating. See your local Honda dealer today.
Locally owned Novec has competitive rates and some of the highest customer satisfaction ratings among electric utilities in Virginia. Novec members are receiving more than $4 million in cashback credits in December, and they enjoy the most reliable power in the region. Novec is growing its renewable energy supply, including more solar. Novec, power you can trust.
Is your heating system ready for colder weather? An annual heating system tune-up from ARS Rescue Rooter will help to make sure your system is working properly and efficiently to keep you warm and save money on your heating costs. Schedule your annual heating system tune-up today with ARS for only $29. But do it fast. This outstanding special ends soon. ARS Rescue Rooter, heating, cooling, and plumbing. Visit arsofvirginia.com. License numbers 270-505-9347A, WVO 34354.
Call ARS and Rescue Rooter.
Hi, it's Larry Michael with the Redskins Park update. The team off to Minnesota on Wednesday afternoon. Kickoff on Thursday, 8:20 in Minneapolis. The Redskins and the 5-2 Minnesota Vikings. The 27th meeting between these two teams, the all-time series, which started back in 1969, is deadlocked at 13 wins apiece. Minnesota's offense, obviously led by Dalvin Cook, the running back, leading the league in rushing and in yards from scrimmage. Kirk Cousins, a 114.5 quarterback rating, top in the NFL through 7 games. Vikings defense pretty stiff. The Redskins looking to run the ball as the return of Adrian Peterson to Minnesota will take center stage. That's today's Redskins Park update.